Today we have our monthly executive Q&A, question and answer, and we have a few team members on the line. But I really want to introduce Gib Olander. Gib is our EVP of product here at Vendasta. He has so much experience in the digital space. I'm not going to steal any thunder, and I'm just going to pass it over to Gib maybe for an intro and a little bit of a discussion. So Gib, thank you for joining us. Take it away.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Andrew. This is exciting. I'm so happy to get a chance to talk to partners, and I love the opportunity to do this. So I've got a little bit of an agenda to give everybody an idea of what we're going to talk about today. So I'm going to give everybody a little bit of an idea of who I am, where I came from, just so you've got some context. And one of the claims to fame that I have is I was one of the founders of Locally. So we actually invented the idea of listing management. So I'm going to give everybody a quick little history tour of how that business got started. And if you've ever sold listing management, maybe I'll give you a little idea and some background of why that's important and how that kind of came to be. After that, I do manage product here at Vendasta, and we've done a lot of updates in reaction to COVID. And you've probably seen or heard some of those, but I've asked Adam, one of our incredible product marketers, to come in and give everybody just a quick highlight of like a dozen or so features that we've released just over the last few months that we think tie into these ideas around Project Remote. And then we've got a special gift kind of for everybody that I hope you get to take a look at that's in your software today. And then at the end, I want to open up just to a conversation to talk about what software you guys are using besides Vendasta, and what are other things that maybe we can think about solving so that we can have a good conversation. Does that work for everybody?
Nice. That sounds fantastic. And for anybody new who's joining, we do record these sessions, and then we share the recording in the community afterwards. So if you miss anything and you want to review or you want to check out previous sessions, you'll find those in the community too. So go ahead, Gib.
Great. So I'm going to start way back when I was a little kid, and not to bore you guys all, but it gives you a little context about what I've done and why I'm so passionate about this space. So as a kid, my parents were both in media selling to local businesses. So my mom was the general manager of a radio station. My dad was the general manager of a Yellow Page phone book company here in the United States. I actually come to you from Chicago, Illinois, which is where I work. I do get to Saskatoon kind of 2 out of every 6 weeks when the pandemic's not locking me into my house. So I've got a long background in this space of how do you become a trusted expert to really help small businesses adapt or grow their business. And it's really been a fun run that I've been a part of. After selling Yellow Pages for quite a while, and learning what it's like to walk down the street and knock on a door and open a phone book up on somebody's hood of a car. Does everybody here remember what a phone book is? I don't know how old our audience is, but I think there's a lot of people that don't even remember them, right? But in many ways, they were the first search engine, right? Like, it was our local search engine at that time. It was our best local marketing that had the ability for a consumer to look for an answer and go get it. So after I was in the Yellow Pages, there was a city guide in the United States, and actually I think it went global, called City Search. It was really the first city guide that had local search in it. We sold websites, and we sold banner ads, and we sold pay-per-click ads, and we got pay-per-call phones like kind of started in the space, all wrapped in good content. It was really a fun place to be a part of and grow. And while I was there, one of the things that we uncovered was that even back, and this is in like the early 2000s, maybe even the late 90s, that listings would get wrong, right? And so we had this city guide, and I can remember it clearly today when I found out that this was a big problem that needed to be solved. And I had sold an incredible advertising campaign to the Chicago Steakhouse, which is like a huge iconic place in Chicago. If you ever need a steak, it's a great place to go. But I had sold this amazing campaign to them, and they were getting really good results. But the listing, the address on the listing was right, but the phone number was ringing to the back manager's office, not to the front of the house. And so that phone number was wrong, and the campaign was working. It was driving the manager, the person that signed my check, crazy, right? Because she's getting all these phone calls in the back. So I am in a panic, about to lose this huge big deal. I call our tech people. I'm like, we got to get this phone number changed. How do we get it changed? So they changed the phone number. Life is good in the world. 3 months later, the phone number gets switched back again. And I'm like, what happened? Oh my God, how could this be? Like, I just fixed it. Now this manager's like infuriated with me. Can't believe what's going on. And so that was when I started to understand that listings were really important in the ecosystem. And I started to dig into why, and it's how I became one of the founders of the way Localese works. There was a couple of guys, Brian Wool and Jeff Beard, that had already kind of got this idea kind of started working on a data company. And then I joined them to really take this idea of listing management to the next level. And what we found is that there is no magic repository in the world of all of the listing data that's just right all the time. And because of this, listing data gets built on an ongoing basis. So Google doesn't have like a national repository that they can check into, or Yelp doesn't, or OpenTable. So I found it really interesting, and I went to work for a data company, and what I found was that this data is actually built every single day from hundreds and hundreds of sources. So the way these sources come together is, it's pretty interesting, is like when a new company decides to open their door, they get a building permit, and they put a name, an address, a phone number on that building permit. Sometimes because the management company that's building the business is working out of their home, and a construction guy, that they'll put that address on it. But then there's also like phone bills when they get their phone established, or when they get their cable established, or when they get their credit cards put in, and when they get their store licenses. And there's all of this different mixing of names, address, and phone numbers, oftentimes on all of these critical documents. And there's companies like Localese or Info Group or Axiom that would actually go out and they aggregate all of this information, and they put together a really sophisticated algorithm to start to map all of those pieces together. And so as you start to map those pieces together, you start to get discrepancies, right? Like you get the fact that they put their home address because they wanted the credit card bill mailed to home, because that's where they do their billing. So now, as a person that's building a database, you've got 2 entries of the actual store where it's at, like on Main Street, and then you've got 1 address that's on the home. But if the source for that home address is a more quality source, you start to build it up. And I don't want to get into all the nitty gritty, like it's not that fun to know all the details, but that data gets built up, and then that data gets licensed out to all of these search applications. And at Localese, we started this process of licensing that data out. And it all started from just direct mail lists, is where all of that data really started, just like you can buy a direct mail list today. But what we found was really quickly, again, this is decades ago now, is that the accuracy rate for delivering a piece of mail, like nobody really cares. I mean, like you've got to be kind of 85 to 92% accurate. And if you are, you've got an incredible mailing list. But when driving directions started to come in, the price of getting that listing exactly right every single time became really, really high. And so at that point in time, every local search directory, all they could do was answer recovery searches. So I always think there's 2 types of searches that a listing needs to work in. One is a recovery search, which is I know that there's a dry cleaner or a veterinarian office on the corner of First and Main. I just want to get their phone number, or I want to get a piece of information, so I look for something that exists. The second type is a discovery, right? And a discovery search would be, I want to know if that dry cleaner does 1 hour dry clean, or if they do fur storage or wedding dress storages. And that type of information didn't even exist at that time. So at Localese, what we did is we took a copy of every phone book that we could find across the entire country or across all of North America, and we started to key all of the data that was in all the bullet points in the ads, and we started to add that to our information. And that little bit of information, those bullet points, became the crux of how discovery search started to happen across local search. We found very quickly that we couldn't get our accuracy rate up to a point of 99 to 98%, no matter how many sources we built. So what we wanted to do was open up the doors and allow a business themselves to manage their content into this data aggregation layer. So data aggregators, again, your Info Group, your Localese, they're now called Neustar and Axiom. that you start to build those up. And actually the fact that I call it Localese is because I helped found Localese. We sold that company to Neustar with some of our parent company assets for $650 million. It's a really nice exit for me. I ended up leaving Neustar about a year later, and I raised around a venture capital in Chicago and built out a customer satisfaction review space business. And we sold the Power Reviews. Then I helped found or work with a company and then sold that. Oh, Modern Comment. Who knows me? Somebody's followed me along. That's pretty interesting, Ryan. Nice call. Yeah, Modern Comment. That was my startup. It was really fun. And it was a fun little product that we sold off to Reputation or to Power Reviews. I think it's still up and running today. People can get value there. Anyway, as I go back into the listing story, so we found really quickly that we couldn't get our accuracy up. We couldn't get enough unique content. We opened it up to free. And what we found when we went to the free tier was that every business in the world is super excited to tell you when they're in business and new. They'll raise their hand, they'll give you data, but then when they go out of business, they never tell you. So we found that we had to charge for it. By charging for it, it meant that they would call and tell us when they went out of business. And that opened up then an entire business model for us. So that whole business model was really interesting. We ended up going to market through channels. So we ultimately sold listing management to millions and millions of businesses. We sold it through tens of thousands of channel partners. And that's really how I got my career started and gives you guys a little bit of an idea of what's going on at the data aggregator level. One of the key concepts is to remember is that NAP, name, address, phone number, and category, super important for recovery searches. And then you've got a list of attributes that you want to include for that idea of discovery content. What are the products? What are the services that you offer? What are your hours of operation? What makes you eligible to be found in that? And what was interesting is that we've seen that the listing spaces continue to grow. There's another set of types of companies that came out that I like to call the data amplifiers. Those data amplifiers are using oftentimes the data aggregators' data, but they also usually have a really big reach and have a large audience. So the data amplifiers are people like Google and Facebook. You've got companies like Apple and Foursquare, and you've got Microsoft in those areas. And the reason that they're data amplifiers is that you're not only trying to get your data right because of their reach and their audience. It's actually because they've got this incredibly rich API layer that's powering like hundreds and hundreds of thousands of different apps and different voice search and different mapping applications that are all getting powered off of the API, off of the same set of data. So by getting into the data amplifier layer, you get a really interesting way to extend the reach of that name, address, and phone number, which gives you the ability to get found and your customers to get found in both those types of searches. The last layer that I like to think about is the data publishers. And the data publishers are all those niche little directories that you see like the Yellow City and Insider Pages and those kind of companies. And those data publishers are sometimes such thorns in your side when you're trying to manage listings. And that's because they're not directly connected to anything. And oftentimes the best way to go fix some of those is with a real-time product like our listing sync product, or using a Yext, or using an Uberall, or some of those kind of companies, because they've cut direct agreements with that vast network of just people that are just data publishers, and they just slap kind of a poster over the hole in your wall to make that right in real time. But gives you a little bit of an idea of kind of the listing space. One of the reasons I think listings is such an important piece of the overall journey, because we really are in an omni-channel journey for our businesses. And as I talked about that data amplifier layer, you think about that name, address, phone number as an anchor component that goes out across that entire journey that people are in. And oftentimes the name, address, and phone number are actually the zero moment of truth, right? A great Google concept. If you don't know it, please go look it up. There's some great information on the zero moment of truth, but it's an incredible way to understand that when somebody's about ready to make that decision to buy and actually convert, and in the local space where most of us work with physical brick and mortar stores, they've got to drive there or go there, and having an accurate listing is really an important concept at the zero moment of truth. The other neat thing that has happened with listings that's actually raised their importance in today's omni-channel shopping experience is this idea of micro moments. It's another Google concept, but if we've all lived today, and make shopping decisions and daily life decisions based on these iPhones, right? Or your Android phone or your mobile phone. And what we found is that the time between search behavior and conversions is actually shrunk a great deal. And so because of that, if your listings aren't right, when somebody is getting in their car and starting to drive there, and we've probably all had this happen to us at some point in time, when you couldn't find the listing that you were looking for, or the hours of operation weren't available on that listing, and therefore the search device didn't use them, we chose a competitor, right? We chose another business to go to just because of the simple ease of use in that micro moment that we want to choose from. So another big concept to think about as you're driving into listings, or if you're trying to sell listings, do a little research on micro moments, zero moment of truth, omni-channel search experience, and think about how important that little object is of a name, an address, a phone number, of an app, and how that carries the entire experience through as you're putting together your campaigns and your programs to work with people. So
That is,
no, go ahead, Andrew.
I was just going to say, that is awesome. You know, I know a lot of our partners joined. I talked to a few partners building up to this session, just saying, hey, you got to join. And they said, absolutely, because, you know, listings is one of the reasons why I joined Vendasta. So to learn more about how it started and the complexity of it all is really appreciated.
Thanks, man.
Did you have one last comment there, Gib?
Yeah, two more comments just about listings. One is to think about listings. All listings are not the same, that they have different complexities to them, and that there's different expectations for them. So I like to think that there's 6 different types of listings kind of that you can think about as you're dealing with businesses. The first and one that everybody likes to gravitate towards is a retail business, brick and mortar store, right? Like has a front store, it's been there forever, super easy to understand. The second type is a service area business. I think you've probably all heard about those and thought about it. A service area business, you think about a plumber, right? They work in a polygon, so their latitude and longitude is different than a retail store because they go to their customers, like they move around and go out to their customers. So the address component for a service area listing is different than the address component for a retail business. And oftentimes the phone numbers can be different there as well. The third type of listing that I like to think about is professionals. So professionals are like your doctors, your lawyers, your accountants. They're often more complex because one, their name is usually a subset of a corporate name, right? Or mortgage broker, right? It's Bob Smith at Bank of America, or it's Bob Smith, Allstate insurance agent. So the complexity of their name can be also difficult to deal with professionals. And oftentimes they work out of multiple addresses. So you have an address with a suite number is something really important, and their phone numbers, you might need extensions when you deal with professionals. A fourth type of listing that you can consider is a kiosk. Kiosks are like your red box, like that's in front of a store, or U-Hauls can sometimes be kiosks. Oftentimes there is no phone number, there is no person there, but it's a place to go. Optimizing for those is a different experience that you need to have different expectations from a listings product for. There's store within a store, also a really difficult one to think about. Like oftentimes that address is nested within. Sometimes you can think about like a Walmart has a McDonald's in it, or a Subway inside a bank, or a bank inside of a grocery store. Those are also really interesting things to consider. How do you mark up that data so that that address allows that listing to be standalone as opposed to conflated in with the larger one when they're trying to deal with that data store? And then the bigger one is the container. So like a hotel is often a container containing multiple business units within it, or a hospital can be a container. And so when you're dealing in listings, always think about how you can break those components down. Think about your name, address, phone number. Are they distinct and interesting and different so that that listing can stand alone and not get conflated into the mess that's there? So that's all that I have to say about listings. Can I move on to my next topic?
That is awesome, Gib. I know you could go on for even longer. You know, I see one question maybe in the chat. Maybe you can touch on this a little bit. Anthony asks, what about generic call numbers, the ones people use to track online?
Yeah, It's actually come a long way. And if you use the right vehicles to do those, that they can work now. It used to be a no-no, right? But what you have to do is make sure that that call number is unique and attracted to that name and address, and that you've got it as pervasively consistent as you can, unless you have a direct paying relationship with a publisher. Because as soon as you start to then, there's still a lot of look of the different bots and crawlers that they're all trying to look and see if they get the same signal for a name, address, phone number combination to decide if they want to do it. So they're super valuable and important in a way to track and to prove performance. And we all know that that's what we have to do in this business, is prove performance every single day. And making the phone ring is a great way to do that. But do know that it can cause some confusion with the different search platforms and data aggregators if that number starts to get moved around.
Awesome. Thanks, Gib. And just for everyone's awareness, like the listings products that we have in the marketplace would be, listing distribution, so that you can get that info out to the data aggregators, and then Listing Sync Pro, so you can be syncing with many many different sources. And check out the resources in there. I know Gib mentioned a lot of data amplifiers, for example. There's some great resources in there that'll help understand the differences and how to best position and understand what each product does. So just wanted to give those products a little shout out. For those who maybe haven't checked them out, check it out. Also, we've been doing some revamping of the marketplace. So, you'll find all of that information right in a nice tab that says something like files or case studies or something like that. So get in there and check it out. Also, if anybody has any questions, put them in the chat. We'll try to get to all the questions. Even if we don't get to all the questions during the session, we'll try to answer them and get them into the community, just like previous sessions. So I want to make sure everybody knows that your questions are important to us, and we'll do our best to get to them. So, but Gib, I am really excited for what we're going to talk about next. Maybe let's get into that.
Yeah. So the world's changed, right? For all of us. We recognize this at Vendasta, and this is where I get to talk a little bit about the future and a little bit about the state of the platform in general at Vendasta. And Adam's going to be here to talk about this just in a couple of minutes. I want to just set it up for him really well. So as an executive team, we sat around the table, March 13th, I believe is the day. We had already started our kind of plan of what might happen in this time of COVID. And our executive, our CEO, Brendan King, some of you have heard him talk before. I mean, is as smart and dynamic of a product leader as you can find. And, he kind of stood up at a table and said, hey, the world's about to change. We need to get ahead of this and make sure that our channel partners have the tools that they need to be successful in the way the world's about to change. And so we really simplified our thoughts down to what are the three things that are going to move the needle for our channel partners going forward. And one was this move to e-commerce, and everybody here has heard us talk about that, and they've seen that, and it's so important. The second is making sure that our partners and ourselves could work remotely. And then the third was the ability to add e-learning so that they can learn from a collaborative environment like things that we've done here. And so we really leaned into that back in March, and what could we do to make our platform not only be able to support the change and drastic change that's hitting our SMB landscape, but how can we best support our channel partners with that functionality? And so what we ended up doing is we put together what we called Project Remote as a development team, and we started to really dig into what are the changes that we think that our partners are going to have. And we broke it out into kind of 6 basic use cases that we think our channel partners like to think about. And what we found was that they need help building new stores. So we spent a lot of time and energy building new stores, or making better tools for you guys to build better new stores that can work in an e-commerce way. We figured that they need help in marketing their business. And so we found ways to invest in our ability to help you market your business. We look for ways to help you sell to businesses in new ways. We know that you're no longer going to be able to walk down the street and walk into a business like you used to. So we needed to add some technology around how can we help that happen better. We thought about your fulfillment needs and what do you have to do to be able to fulfill and see when you've got a dispersed team out across the marketplace. So how can we help with that? We recognize that you're going to have to bill maybe in different ways, that maybe you're going to have to collect and invoice in different ways. And so we invested in that. And then we realized that you always have to deliver performance, and you have to show them that you've performed going forward. And so we spent a lot of time over the last kind of 90 days, and we've put out a ton of new features. Hopefully you've seen them. Hopefully you're already using them. So for some of these, maybe it's a little bit of a recap, but I wanted to point these out because I think they all tie into how I hope that the Vendasta platform can help you be successful at this crazy time of change that we're going through. And so with that, I'm going to ask Adam to give kind of a whirlwind tour through a few of these features that we've just released to kind of react to this pandemic. And then we'll come back at the end and talk a little bit more about it.
Great. Thanks, Gib. Appreciate the great intro there. So yeah, for those of you who don't know me, I know I've spoken to a few of you before, but so I'm Adam. I'm one of the product marketing managers here at Vendasta. And I was part of the team that was pretty integral in this Project Remote part of kind of our pivot as a company. So yeah, let me just take you through some of the features that we're most excited to show off, kind of give you a quick glimpse. I hopefully won't take up too much time showing some of the stuff off, but we'll try to be quick here. So let me just present my screen. There we go. Perfect. Can everybody see my screen? We're good?
Yep, we got it there.
Awesome. Great. So I'll start off with the productivity report, which is located in Partner Center. So staying productive while working from home can probably be difficult for probably even the most seasoned employee. So we wanted to make sure that your fulfillment team is staying up to date with their tasks. Keeping up with them is vitally important to not only your success, but the success of the business owner itself. So just to quickly show off the productivity report here, as you can see, it's located in Partner Center, just under tasks. And you can see that it showcases basically what the most important data you need when it comes to fulfilling, projects and services for your clients. You can see here, there's the completed tasks, how many due tasks, how many overdue tasks there are. You can also see task timeliness and overdue tasks in a different little bit of a grid here. So it basically just gives you a brief overview of exactly how this is going, or how your fulfillment team is working. You can also dive in deeper into the view here. Hopefully my internet doesn't run too slowly, but it'll take you straight into Task Manager and really gives you a really great in-depth look at what tasks they're looking at fulfilling. So we kind of built this out just as a quick view, just to really help you understand better the projects that are underway and when you can expect them to be completed. The next thing I kind of want to touch on is our Gmail Chrome extension. So obviously with more communication happening over email than ever before, obviously it's important to keep notes updated with what's being said so that, obviously nothing is lost in translation. But having to jump back and forth between, say, our platform and your email just to make sure that the notes are updated with what's being said, what the email contained, that can be kind of a slog. So what we did is we developed this Chrome extension. So basically in the top corner here, you can see it right up here. It's just a quick download, adds to your Google Chrome. And basically, so I've got kind of an email template built up here. And the really great thing is as soon as you put in the email address of your recipient, it'll automatically start searching for them, right? So I already have this client within my Sales and Success Center, McMaster's Photographers here. And you can actually choose another account if it doesn't happen to be this one, but in this case it is. So once you confirm, you can see that this email will be logged, and you just quickly put in, a subject line, whatever. And then once you send off the email here, quickly show you how that looks. So I go to the actual account here. So you can see I'm in Sales and Success Center. I'm under the specific account for McMaster's Photographers. Just reload here. There we go. Oh. Of course, this was working earlier today, but live demo. That's why.
While Adam's working through that,
yeah,
I really like using this feature because it's keeps everything all in one place, right in the platform, so that we have something to review. I mean, I'm sure everybody is familiar with, with working with a CRM, and Gib has a great question for everybody to generate some discussion at the end of the session here. But we like to drink our own champagne here, and so this is something that we use daily, and we're logging these things so that we always have something to review, to reflect on, to make sure that we have a consistent conversation regardless of who might be connecting with the account.
And just so everybody knows, the only reason there was a bit of a bug there was because Adam's logged into multiple use cases of the account. So that wasn't the software. It was just that he's a strange use case, and that he's logged into a whole bunch of different systems. And so the system was actually protecting him or protecting your data and not allowing a different user to see your information.
Exactly. Yeah, that's great, Gib. Yeah, I was logged into multiple users at the same time, so that was my bad. But I'm in the right account here. As you can see now, I'm actually in my account in McMaster's Photographers. And you can see that the email actually got posted right here. So nice and quick, has exactly what was said, what was communicated. So it's a really great way to quickly keep up-to-date notes within Sales and Success Center. So that way you don't even have to worry about, jumping back and forth between both platforms. So next we're going to talk about our task calendar. So, obviously making sure that your account is kept up to date with proper notes is important, but what about all the other tasks? Stuff like running a snapshot report or putting a proposal together or providing them an updated with their fulfillment work, right? Again, all of that comes into play and is all very, very important. So we also wanted to make that easy for you to manage as well. So if we go into our task calendar, so under events and meetings here, you'll see calendar. And here you'll see it broken out as a month, and you'll see every single task that is required for that day. You can obviously dive into it now. Hopefully this will work, probably not, but you can see if you click into it, you can actually see, show snapshot report, right? So you can actually go into each day and actually see all the tasks that are due. These are the ones that are in progress. If I happen to complete one, they would get put into complete. So it's basically just another method for you to easily manage your schedule. If you happen to be using Sales and Success Center fully, making tasks under the Accounts tab, you can easily go here and just see what's due for each day, each week. You can switch to, a weekly view or a daily view, and it just gives you another great way of managing your time. The next thing I would like to show is our manager's dashboard. So managing a team of salespeople, like even one or two, can probably be pretty time consuming. So especially difficult to follow up with them in person, as everybody is moving to a more remote session. You don't always have the ability to quickly follow up with them to see what they're doing, what they're accomplishing. And having that complete picture is pretty integral to managing your business. So what we've actually done is we've created the manager's dashboard here. So what you can see is this gives you a brief overview of your sales team. You can see at the top corner here, if you have any meetings booked, which we'll get to in a second here, it'll show you your top 3 meetings. It'll show you the most recently updated accounts, but just below you can see broken out by different metrics, your sales team and their performance. So by activity, by sales rep, sales tasks, sales opportunities. You can see the top 5. You can even dive into deeper insights if you would like, but this gives you a really good view of just how your team is performing. And you can actually turn off specific metrics as well. So if you only want to focus on one specific metric, you can turn that on and off, get a really good idea. And it just saves you that time from having to actually follow up individually with each salesperson. You can just focus on what you need to do at that time. The next thing I'd like to talk about is the loop. So obviously, we've all used social media here. We know the importance of social media. It's a great way to stay up to current with colleagues. Again, especially when you're working remotely, we use Slack here at the company all the time to go back and forth. So having the ability to quickly see what your sales team is up to. I know it's something our sales team uses quite a lot, and that's the loop. So just down here in the loop, actually, sorry, I had to open up another tab. You can see that it actually records every single thing, or pretty much every single thing that your sales team is doing on a daily basis, and it posts it here. So it's basically like a social media for your sales team. And it's a great way to not only kind of keep up to date with just whatever your colleagues are doing, you know, oh, you can see that they sent an email to specific clients. You scroll further down, you can see, you know, that an opportunity was created for specific clients. It'll even show if the opportunity was closed, you know, if there was won or lost. So it gives you a great way of not only celebrating wins for your team, you can, you know, add a comment here. You could say, hey, great opportunity, hope you close it. You can like it, follow it. It also gives you great training opportunities. So, you know, if you say like this user sent out a great email and you want to be like, this is how the email should work, this is how your email should look, it's awesome. You can go right here, refer them to it, and they can see exactly what the email said. So it's just another great way to stay in touch with your entire sales team, making sure that everybody's staying up to date with what's going on. Now, a super important feature that we released is the Who's Online feature. So, you know, obviously with more and more business owners moving online, this is a massive opportunity, you know, to engage them right when they're in the platform. You know, if they're engaging with Business App or if they're engaging with your marketplace, you know, you can be right there engaging with them at that time. So at
what I always like to think about here, Adam, is like back in the old day, I can remember sitting in the lobby of a partner that I was waiting for them to come out, right? Like you're waiting for them to show up back to work when you had an appointment. Anybody that's sold indoors probably had to do that. And we think this is a kind of a, with COVID, that you can't sit and stalk them. This is a way to find out when you can call and talk to them.
Exactly. Yeah. You're almost like, and it's probably not the best way to say it, but you're kind of cyber stalking them a little bit. You know, and you can see here, like it doesn't show a lot of data. Like it's not like it's super in depth. We know we're obviously looking at building this out even further. This is one of the first stages of it, but you can see right now, it does show a decent amount. You know, it will show the name of the user, the account, how far ago that they were last in the platform. So 3 hours ago. And it even gives you an option to do certain actions right from this. So you can actually start a Zoom meeting, a Google meeting. You can even create an opportunity directly from here. So if this user, say Flowers by Jane, you know, if they accessed one of the toolkits, you could say like, oh, they're a great opportunity. So you can create that opportunity directly from here. Or if you know that they're online, you can connect with them directly with Zoom right in that spot. And you can go back. It's not only even just the top 3. You can go back as far as you want and see exactly how many of your clients are engaging with your platform on a daily, weekly, or monthly basis, and how often they're engaging. It's a really, really great feature. So, and then kind of following up with that, then there's the screen sharing software. So, you know, we're on Zoom right now. I think we're all aware that Zoom has probably exploded in popularity. Google Meet is right behind them, you know, in popularity. Both just have seen exponential growth in the last couple of months due to COVID. You know, so we obviously wanted to bring that into the platform and make it as easy as possible to use. So again, as you can see in the Who's Online at the top here, you do have the ability to quickly connect with them as well. But if we just follow below here, with underneath the account, you'll see right here, create a meeting. And if you click that, you actually have the ability to create a Zoom or Google meeting directly from this account as well. So again, we've given you the option of connecting with your clients quickly and easily using some of the most popular screen sharing software out there. Obviously with Zoom and Google Meet, you can join for free. So again, it's great. Nobody actually has to do anything. Zoom, obviously the person does have to download a little bit of software, but for Google Meet especially, we've seen a lot of growth with that because as long as somebody has a Gmail account, they have access to Google Meet. So it's a really easy way to connect. So we wanted to bring that to the forefront and just make it, like I said, super simple to use within our platform. Finally, the other feature I wanted to highlight here is the e-commerce section of the snapshot report. So it's something we actually just released very recently within the last couple of weeks. But as more businesses are moving online, you know, obviously e-commerce has become essential to succeeding in today's economy. So we recognize this opportunity and we wanted to bring it to partners like yourself and make it as easy as possible to highlight not only the benefits of taking on this strategy, but the insights that your consumers need to really adapt or adopt this e-commerce into their business. So here we have a snapshot report that we've run. You know, it's for a clothing company here in Saskatoon. Now, if we just quickly go down to the e-commerce section, you'll see, obviously, you know, it's new, so we will be filling this out as well. But you can see it already presents mainly the 3 main tactics that come with e-commerce. So online storefront. So this is basically tracking whether they have the ability to sell products on their store. You know, whether it's Shopify, WooCommerce, whatever it is, We try to track to see if they actually have the ability to sell their products. And online payments. So even if they have the products online, can they take transactions through their website? So in this case, they would have Apple Pay, but there's, again, so many other suppliers out there. So we track that to see if they have the ability. And then lead engagement. So, how many times have you gone to an e-commerce website, say Amazon, somebody like that, looked at a product, and then after you've left, you've gotten an email, or you've seen, a digital ad showcasing that specific product. So we wanted to highlight that as well. In this case, we've tracked that they have MailChimp, so they're able to email their clients after they've left their website. So we wanted to bring these 3 metrics out and put them up front and center, and really give you the ability to highlight this and really try to benefit from this growing e-commerce industry. So, okay, so that was kind of the main features that I wanted to talk about. So the next thing I really wanted to showcase, and I'll quickly do a quick walkthrough. I know I've taken up a little bit more time than I meant to, but I wanted to highlight Meeting Scheduler. So I know I've spoken to a few of you before about Meeting Scheduler, but for those who aren't aware or haven't seen this before, it's our brand new appointment scheduling software. It's what we've built directly into the platform. Now, it's a great feature. It obviously, really helps. We've seen a lot of success with it, not only internally, but externally with some of the partners who have been using it. They've been able to book meetings. We've seen some great growth with it. So I wanted to really showcase how easy and simple it is to set up. But there's another important reason I really wanted to bring this out. We've just revealed a new feature that we've brought out, and that's customizable booking links. So basically, you can create short, memorable booking links for your clients to easily memorize, and not only that, be an extension of your brand. But there's kind of a caveat with that. So we call it kind of claiming your name. So obviously, everybody has their individual name, whether it's your personal name, whether you'd like that in the URL, or say something like Alpha Media, Red Star, some kind of company that you would like to put into your booking URL. The problem is, or not problem, I guess, but the hurdle is that once the name is gone, it's gone. So basically, once somebody has claimed it, say Jeremy, it's nobody else can claim Jeremy as a customizable link. So what we wanted to do is mention that if you are planning on using it, or you haven't gone in and customized it yet, you're gonna want to consider doing it sooner rather than later, because if you have a specific name or specific URL that you would like to claim, you will want to do it soon. Once it's gone, you won't be able to, you have the ability to claim it back. So with that, let me just jump in here, see if this works.
Everybody follow along, log in, get in,
yes.
Get it started. This would make
Yes.
Adam's got a goal of users that he's got to get as the PMM, so help him out. He's been working hard for us.
Exactly, yeah. If you have the ability to jump in right now to Sales and Success Center, you have it open. This is a great opportunity if you haven't set it up yet. It's pretty seamless. If you don't have the ability to do it now, it's pretty easy to walk through. It takes seconds, but I'll quickly walk through the process here. If you want to follow along, that'd be great. But so for this person, Chelsea here, she's first time logged in, has not set up scheduling yet. So you can see here, first step is set your booking URL. So this is where you customize it. This is where you're going to claim your name. So obviously it's going to default to whatever you put as your salesperson profile. So here it's Chelsea Peretti. So it just defaults to C Peretti, but you can change this to anything if you want. You can change this to Chelsea. You can change this to your last name. We'll use her last name here because it's probably not going to be taken. Obviously, if it is taken, you will see an error that just says that name is not available, and you'll have to switch it up. But if the name is available and you hit next, there you go. You can see success. The booking link has been updated. So that means that from now on, she will have that in her URL. Nobody else can claim that as her last name. Next is to connect Google Calendar. Now, again, it's super simple. I've already connected my Google Calendar, but basically all you would need to do is click sign in with Google. It takes you to the sign in page, you set it up, and it automatically syncs with your Google Calendar. And what that means is basically any meeting that's booked through Meeting Scheduler will automatically sync up with your calendar and appear. So you don't have to do any manual process. As soon as a meeting is booked, it's there for good. But I'm going to say set up later just because I've already set up my Google Calendar. Next, you can choose to select which which meeting app you would like. Now, you can set up your meeting apps earlier. You don't have to do it now, but if you would like, if you haven't set that up here, you do have the ability to open up the integrations menu. And basically, it's pretty simple. You can set up your Google Meet or your Zoom account. directly within here. So you can see that the services are connected for me as I'm logged in here. But for Chelsea here, she obviously does not have those does not have the login credentials to open that up. But again, it's really, really easy. If you want to connect Google Meet, you just sign in with Google. Same thing with Zoom. If you click Zoom, you just connect your service. It'll take you to the login screen for Zoom. You log into your Zoom account and it'll connect automatically. And this will allow you to choose the default as well. So if you prefer one or the other, all you need to do is select which one you would prefer. And what that allows is that as soon as somebody books a meeting with you, it'll automatically create the meeting link. So again, there's no manual process on your end. It'll automatically add Google Meet. It'll automatically add Zoom, whatever you prefer. So we're just going to skip that for now. And finally, you can set your general availability. We are making some iterations on this, and I'll quickly dive into the settings in a second here. But basically, you just select your start time and your end time. Say 7:30, and we're going to end at, say, 4:30 p.m. And you can select which days you're going to be available. So again, super simple and complete setup. And with that, you're completely, like Chelsea is done, right? So it takes very, very little time. You can be done within a minute or two. You know, and just to go into some of the deeper settings here, just to quickly showcase here. So when you go into settings, you can actually change your setting, your booking URL. So say Peretti or Chelsea gets married and changes her last name, right? She can change this if she would like. Now, the one thing with that to mention is that if you do customize your URL, but then end up changing it at a later date, all your previous URLs will not work anymore. So you will need to go up and update wherever your URL is positioned. So just one thing to keep in mind when you're customizing your booking link. Again, if you haven't connected to Google Calendar, you can connect it here as well. You can also change your preferred meeting type. So if you want to change to Zoom, you can do that as well. You can availability increments. So basically you can display the increments in 15, 30, or 60-minute slots. So you can change how that looks. And I'll show you what the booking portal looks like in a second here. You can add a meeting buffer. So say you want, you know, if you want 30 minutes in between each meeting, basically what this will do is as soon as a meeting is booked, it'll automatically add 30 minutes to the end of the meeting. So nobody can book 30 minutes after that meeting. So it gives you kind of a buffer period to prepare. You can also change the advance notice. So if you don't want somebody booking more than 12 hours in advance, you can change that. You can go up to 48 hours if you would like, but we've given you some options here as well. And down here in the general availability, we've actually added further customizations. So you can actually change. So say on a Monday, you know, I want my lunch hour to be free, right? So I can change this to 12 p.m. Add another time period here. And save it. So basically what this does is it allows my scheduler to only allow times to be booked between 7:30 and 12 and 12 to 4:30 p.m. And you can do that for all individual days. So you can have different time periods broken out by the day. It really gives you way more flexibility around your schedule. So let's just quickly jump back here. So you can see that it defaults to these three meeting types, 15, 30, and 60. What you can actually do is you can create your own customized meetings as well. So what you do is jump in here and you can name this anything you want. So if you want to name it a consultation, and you can see here this further customizes the booking link. So you'll see it says, you know, your name here. So this would obviously be Peretti as what we selected originally. But you can change this to anything you want as well. So you could change this to consultation meeting, coffee meeting, whatever you would like. It does not have to be the same as the name. You can choose the duration, you know, say we want 60, or say we want to do a custom meeting, say we want to do 90 minutes. And you can even choose the color if that helps. And then we do have custom questions. So you can create, these are the questions that we obviously default to. So first name, last name, email, phone number, and comments, but you can add any question that you would like. And then once you create that booking link, you can see it pops up right down here. And we'll just quickly go into it. So at the top here, you can see it says my name, Peretti. It says the name consultation. So it fully customizes it. You can see it has my schedule. They can select the date, the time. It does default. So if I go back here, it does default to your local time zone. So if you're reaching out to somebody, say across the country, you know, it will default to their local time zone. They don't have to do any conversions with that. select it, and then basically once they fill out the form, you'll receive an email, they'll receive an email. So basically confirming the meeting. Within the email itself, you have the ability to cancel or reschedule the booking as well. So it really gives you the ability to manage your meetings more effectively. So I know I've taken up a lot of time with this, but there's a lot of great features that we're looking at releasing. It's you know, like I said, we've seen a lot of growth with our meeting scheduler. We've seen a lot of success with our meeting scheduler, and we just wanted to quickly show how easy it is to set up. Like I said, within 10 minutes, I was able to set up this meeting scheduler and even create a meeting. I could share this out right now and start booking meetings with my clients. So I think I'll hold off there. I went through a lot of things. Hopefully I didn't speak too fast, but yeah, I'll open it up to questions. I know I'll pass it off to Gib as well, so he can finish up as well.
Adam, you are a fantastic presenter, and you take a lot of these features that our team has worked on so hard. And you, for me anyways, you make it very simple to understand the way that you present. So thank you so much to do it. Hey, guys and gals, we got to give it up for our teams. Our teams are working so hard to improve all of this for you guys. And yeah, we'd love to hear your feedback. You know, we have a few minutes left. I wonder if this might be a good time. Gib, you had a pretty important question that you wanted to ask partners to generate some discussion. I'll pass it over to you.
Yeah, thanks. So hopefully everybody sees like all of that stuff that we've just done kind of in the last 90, 120 days is all designed to help you guys adapt to the way the world has changed. Hope you're super excited. All of that, you know, that meeting schedule is available to you today, right? Free, you can go get it. Like it's included in the platform. So please start using it today. That'll help us make it better. You saw the breadth of all the things that we're thinking about and working on. We want to do more. We want to be the operating system of choice for you as a channel partner. So I recognize that there's probably other software that you're using. Would love to know what it is, or love to know what other problems that you would like the Vendasta software to extend into to reach. I can't promise that we'll get to it, but I need to know kind of what your thoughts are so that we can look at how can we reduce the vendor clutter in your life? How can we reduce the number of logins that you have to keep track of, the number of passwords that you have to remember? Can we simplify that down and include it in the software? So I'd love any ideas or thoughts of like software that you're using and why, and so that I could get an understanding of how we might help solve those problems later.
So let's do two things. If anybody, you know, has answers or, you know, software that you're using, put it in the chat. I have a feeling like, you know, we're going to have a lot. Please put it in the chat with just a simple description of, you know, why, just and what, maybe a little bit of something about what we can do. But I also want to hear from people on the line. So let's do those two things. So if somebody would like to, you know, provide some feedback for Gib, feel free to unmute yourself and you know, join the discussion. And for everybody else, please add, you know, your points in the chat so that we can get to it, you know, after the meeting. But, you know, anybody who wants to talk about other softwares that they're using and what we could do, feel free to unmute yourself and let us know.
I'll ask the question, Andrew.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I'll go back to the book me now. One, great work on the product. It's come a long way since its very first version. So fantastic. Love seeing that. I've been using it since inception, essentially switched over from Calendly, but I can't get my clients there. Any thoughts about getting this in there as a client facing tool on their end, so we can set their online bookings up through this for their meetings for like boutiques and things like that we have that we're using other systems?
Yeah, love that idea. And we're absolutely going there. So there's a couple of neat things that are coming together for us there. So if you're following along, like we keep making improvements in the marketplace in the store where you can get other products, right? And so we want to make meeting scheduler available in the marketplace. But then if you also keep track, like we had our big announcement, you know, back in the spring or in the summer about merchant services and the ability to collect payments in DIY, right? And so we're in the process of starting to connect those two things so that your clients or the SMBs can actually start to charge money for the ability to book their time. And then there's a few different things that we've got to kind of unhook from the platform and make it as a standalone product. So that's in the roadmap. It's in process. I don't have an ETA for you yet, but stay tuned. We are headed in that direction.
Fantastic. Hey, Andrew, one of the things I always say to you is it's hard to keep up with Vendasta because it moves so fast with so many products. I saw some comments that people didn't even know that was available. It's you guys are moving fast, so we got to keep up.
I hope that's a good thing for everybody.
So I guess another question for you, Jeff. Did it help having that walkthrough that Adam did? Did it help, like just ripping through the new features, things like that?
Yeah, I looked at it the other day, and I bookmarked the new I forget what it's called. Let me look at it real quick. Software updates, new releases, so I can stay current there and just try to check on that every once in a while to make sure I'm not missing anything. But it's really helpful to see some of the new features, and that's why I was really thinking about the clients that I've set up on different calendar tools that it would be so useful to be able to get that out to them. But I know it sounds like it's coming, so
Nice.
Yeah, great work.
Awesome. Thanks for the question, the feedback, Jeff. Nate, I saw you raise your thumb with that feedback. It helped just ripping through it like that?
Yeah, because I've literally had that on my to-do list since you sent out the email announcing it now for about a month. And so that was really cool today. I was able to accomplish that. It's set up. However, I was setting up and I didn't see how you got to the buffer times. Where did you get to that setting?
Yeah, no, let me just share my screen here quickly.
Awesome.
Show you.
Yeah, while Adam's sharing, Richard Osborne, after Adam shares this, I can see that you unmuted. Probably have some great comments to share. Would love to get to you before the session's done. Go ahead, Adam.
Perfect. So yeah, so if you're in your main dashboard here, if you click the little
you're showing
blue,
the wrong screen, Adam.
Oh, sorry.
You're on your notes. Oh no, we're seeing behind the curtain. We thought you just had all that memorized. Oh my gosh, you wrote that down? Adam, I thought you knew all that stuff cold.
Hey, I had some points, some I wanted to make sure I got to all the features. There's so many features. Like I didn't
so many.
I didn't want to make sure I missed anything. So okay, so I think I'm on the right screen. You're on you can see my dashboard now? Yeah.
Yeah, we have it there.
Perfect. So if you click the little blue icon, now there is a setting at the bottom, so you can actually, it's pretty tiny, but if you click it, it might default to the original setup. But if you click in the bottom here, you'll see view settings. You hit view settings, it'll change it to this version, which has the deeper insight or the deeper.
Okay, I see in the default. Thanks.
Yeah.
There you go.
So yeah, if you click that, and then every time you go back into settings now, it'll automatically default to the more deeper settings. So just one thing. Yeah.
Awesome. Thanks, Adam. Richard, we're right at time, but would love to hear if you have any comments or answering Gib's question. Software that you use that you'd like us to explore to replace.
So just quickly, great features. I love the addition. Could we add in the capability of having multiple calendars? So I use a personal as well as a business calendar because I don't really want all my business and my personal combined, and I don't want other employees looking at my personal calendar necessarily.
Mm-hmm.
So it'd be nice to be able to have that, to be able to track the booking time and see that it's not conflicting with a personal event or a business event that's already booked in. Also, I use GoToMeeting as a communication software. It'd be nice to be able to link that in as well.
That's great. Yeah.
Also, I'm on a Mac, so it'd be nice to be able to bring it outside of the Google Calendar environment as well.
Great feedback. Thanks so much.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, and we're actively working on bringing it into more calendars, not just Google Calendar. That was just kind of the most popular one that's being used. So that's one we're using now, but we're actively working on other calendars, and it's a great idea to bring on multiple ones together.
Great feedback there, Adam, by the way. Just so everybody knows, we did survey all of you guys, right? Like not just you, but like all of our channel partners. And what we found was that most of our partners were actually using Google Meet Calendar. So that's why we started there. But just know that feedback that you give us when we do send out surveys is actually driving product direction. So please be involved in those surveys, even if it only takes you a minute, because it's a way for your voice to get heard.
Yeah, it's great to know that you're using GoToMeeting because, like I said, we're always looking for new integrations. Obviously Google Meet and Zoom are the two popular ones, but we're always looking at adding more just to make it as simple as possible for you. So it's good to know.
One last question that I have, Adam. I know we're working on this. I don't know if it's available yet, but group meetings.
Yeah, so team links, we do have that
Team
available.
links.
Yeah, so that is available. I just, I was going to announce that in our product insider email, which hopefully everybody's looking at on a weekly basis. But yeah, we were just about to put that in the next week's product insider. And yeah, so there is
Awesome.
the ability to create a team link for your team, so that if you send out the link, what it'll do is it'll automatically book with, it'll show everybody's calendars, and so any open slots across your entire sales team. And it gives you the ability to book any time slot that's open. And if there's multiple salespeople, that have the same one, it obviously goes to the first come, first serve. But as soon as that meeting gets booked, our algorithm moves that salesperson to the back of the queue to make sure that the meetings are distributed fairly. So, that not one person is getting more meetings than another person. So,
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, a little inside information for everybody who joined the call live today. So make sure that you're watching for those product insider newsletters that come out every week to keep up to date with these things. So awesome work, Adam. I want to read Thomas's comment in the chat here, because we gotta give kudos to the teams. They work so hard. Oftentimes, they don't get the shout outs that they deserve, but we truly want to make things better for our partners. And Thomas McMillan says, impressed with the product team. Great job. I know this is a lot of great work. You rock. So anybody from the product team who's listening, thank you very much. And we're a little bit over time, but I want to flip it over to Gib if you have any last questions for our monthly executive Q&A here before we sign off.
No, this was really fun. I hope I gave everybody a little bit of history on listings, and maybe you can use that in helping you close a deal somewhere, that you can talk about why they were important, how they got started, be knowledgeable. Hope you see that we as a company are passionate about supporting you and trying to build both not what you need today, but what you'll need in the future. And we can adapt really quickly to the changing times. And hopefully you see that we're giving you some of those things that you can do that with you. I love the feedback. Again, anything that we can, the more we can hear from you, the better off we are. Give me the good, the bad, the ugly. I can take it. I got thick shoulders, thick skin. I may cry a little, but that's all right. It's good to have a soft heart nowadays. So please keep the feedback coming. And thank you guys for being part of the community. It's this kind of thing that makes Vendasta a special company to work for. And so I'm grateful for your contributions.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Gib. And thank you to everyone for joining us this week. We'll see you later today for the Conquer Local Think Tank with Dennis Yu. I hope everyone has a great weekend. Keep healthy, stay safe, and we'll see you in the community.